Good evening and welcome. It is exactly 7 o'clock and we're going to begin. So, Josh, I think you might have presenter role now and can present your screen. This is the Orange County Schools Band information session. Today is Tuesday, July 28th. And it is absolutely fabulous to see 67 attendees, and the number keeps growing. It's really exciting to see you all here. This session is being recorded. The recording will be posted so that you can go back and watch again, or if other families are not able to attend at this time, can go back and watch at a later time. So again, thank you so much for being here tonight. Again, that number keeps growing, and it's so great to see all of our Orange County Schools band directors or directors of bands on the call tonight for our information session. So I'm going to turn it over. Josh, if you'll click to the next slide.
Good afternoon. My name is Mr. Capps, Michael Capps. I am the band director over at A.L. Stenbeck. A graduate of Elon College. I'm getting ready to start my 21st year at A.L. Stenbeck, all at A.L. Stenbeck. And I am my specialty is the trumpet.
Hi, everybody.
I'm Tanya Murphy. Oh, Josh, you're next. You go.
Hi, everybody. My name is Josh Savanovic. I'm the band director at Cedar Ridge High School. I'm about to enter my 12th year in teaching. This will be my 7th year at Cedar Ridge. I have my undergraduate in music ed and a master's in percussion performance from UNC Greensboro. And yeah, really excited about what this year holds for us.
Hi, I'm Tanya Murphy, and I teach at CW Stanford, and I have bachelor's and master's of music education, and this is my second year at CW Stanford, my 25th year teaching this year. I am a flutist. And I know we have a lot of challenges with us this year, but I'm really excited with our new approach and what we're going to be doing in the county.
Hi, I'm in West. I'm graduated for about 6 months now. I have my undergrad in music education from UNC Pembroke and my master's in percussion performance from UNC Greensboro.
Hey, my name is Aaron Noe, and I am the brand new band director at Orange High School. Really happy to be here. Just moved down from Virginia to Hillsboro back at the beginning of July. Super excited. I've met with some of our student leadership, the kids that are auditioning for those positions with the marching band. It's going to be very different. We'll talk about it a little bit later what different high schools are doing, but it's going to be an exciting year. Really excited to be working with you guys.
I'm going to interrupt really quick, whoever's going next. I just want to say thank you so much. And it's so great to have all of you here in Orange County Schools. So take it away.
All right. So this next slide, well, the directors, when we started getting together to discuss how we were going to proceed and what the next couple of weeks are going to look like, we just wanted to put together a bit of a almost like a mission statement for how we're going to move forward over the next coming weeks and months. And forgive me if any of you have been in one of my classes, you probably have heard me say, don't read from the slideshow. But I'm going to ask for your forgiveness right now as I read from the slideshow. So please do forgive me. And so this is sort of our general approach to the year. So regardless of whether students select the OCS Virtual Academy or participate in Plan C, we know that music education is vital to students' social emotional well-being. It is imperative that all have access to an equitable delivery of arts education. All 5 of the band directors are working together to create district-wide virtual opportunities to benefit our students from day 1 of the school year through master classes, peer tutoring, chamber ensembles, and more programs to supplement daily synchronous learning. Our goal is to use this time to further develop technical proficiency and music literacy that will improve our ensembles when we come together again in our band rooms. Each school will be tailoring instruction to their specific program while working together to create resources that will benefit everyone. That basically boils down to what we are looking at is we are not looking at this as like a stopgap measure. We are not looking at this as just trying to pass the time. Everything we are doing right now and everything we're developing is to increase your musical literacy, your technical proficiency, and your ability to be a member of an ensemble so that when we do get together again, we can then take these things that we've put into place and run with them. Well, we really think that the things that we've been discussing are going to really make our programs stronger moving forward. And we're really excited to work together to share this with all of you guys.
And I'm Tanya Murphy, and I'm going to talk to you about instruments. For those that are rising sixth graders, and for any students who might be new to the area or who may need an instrument, you can attend the Zoom meeting, which will take place on August 10th, Monday from 6 to 7 p.m. And a link will be placed on the OCS website and for each of the school's pages as well. And the band directors will have the page as well, the link. And Josh, yep. And if you need to borrow an instrument, that will be a school-owned instrument. You need to fill out a form, which is here. You can see the link by August 7th. And again, the link will be provided to you by the band directors, so you don't need to stress to write it down right now, and it will be saved in this slideshow as well. And for those rising ninth graders, if you have an instrument from last spring from a middle school that belongs to the middle school, if you could indicate that on the form when you request your new instrument that you need. In addition, if you need supplies for your instrument, you can go to your local music dealer. And if you are familiar with the process, you do not have to attend the Zoom meeting. Again, you can go directly to your music dealer. And one more addition, we do request if you decide to go online and purchase any instruments that way, that you do check with your band director first so that we can make sure you get a quality, good working instrument. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Brandon West at Gravelly Hill Middle. What can students expect from band via remote learning? Your director will still be your teacher during this time. Synchronous lessons from the director on technical proficiency. Asynchronous learning as students submit recordings of their own work for director feedback. Students will not need any specialty equipment to complete their assignments. Everything that they will need will be included in their instrument and or Chromebook.
Orange County Schools do plan to purchase smart music subscriptions for all students to have access to, where you'll be able to not only have access to play music from with a recording, so you're not playing by yourself, but another very cool way to gauge your learning so it can assess where you're playing now. Master classes for specific topics and instrument families. So for example, if I do a trumpet master class for all the trumpet players in 6th grade for all 3 middle schools, or Mr. Savanovic does a mallet exercise for all percussionists in Orange County. That's kind of what we're thinking about there. Increased focus on flex band materials and chamber music, kind of like solo and ensemble. Performance opportunities will be created by specific programs. These might look like outdoor socially distanced chambered ensembles, watch parties or pre-recorded works, creation of videos using apps like Acapella, and other things like that.
Mr. Noe, you're still muted, sir.
Thank you. I thought I had already pushed that button. I'm going to be talking to you guys about jazz band and the marching band programs. And through all of this, the message we're trying to get across is that if it's part of the band curriculum at your school, we're trying our very best to develop a meaningful experience that is going to be really great for you guys. And so if band is part of your curriculum, we will continue to offer that this fall. And we'll be focusing on different elements that are going to translate into the traditional class setting when we get there. We're going to focus on style and articulation, improvisation, as well as listening. And if there happens to be ways that we can include some type of performance experience, we'll look into those opportunities as well. The marching bands, I know Mr. Savanovic has a different approach than what we do at Orange, and the marching band is going to be addressed by each of those programs by the director to find the best fit that is going to be meeting the needs of our students. So if you have questions about the marching band programs, definitely contact your band director. I know that I'm happy to speak with all of my students at Orange, and I know Mr. Savanovic would love to hear from you guys. So rising freshmen, give us a call, shoot us an email. We'd love to hear from you. One of the things that we're trying to develop through all of this is the concept of a band buddy, so that each of us can have a little bit more interaction between the students. We know that the camaraderie and the bond that is built in the programs, that's something that we want to sustain in the virtual experience. So we're going to try to develop a band buddy system between the high schools and the middle schools, and we are also trying to create an OCS bands classroom that will house many of the materials and resources that we're creating and gathering through the school year. Our goal as a band director community is to be collaborative throughout this whole process so that we can give you guys the very best experience, feed off of each other, share ideas, incorporate new ideas into our teaching programs, and make the whole program better.
Now, we have had a number of people ask us, what's the plan going to be when we do move, if and when we move to Plan B from Plan C? If and when we move to face-to-face learning, safety is the #1 priority for all of your directors. All of us are continuing to monitor the new studies and are in constant communication with the NC Music Educators Association and the North Carolina Bandmasters Association to determine the best practices for in-person rehearsals. One of the things that we are closely watching and closely paying attention to is a brand new study that's being done largely out of the University of Colorado Boulder and also University of Maryland, that's being hosted by the College Band Directors National Association, or CDBNA. And it's a never before, it's a brand new study on the aerosol droplets when playing wind instruments and also when singing. And the preliminary data that is still very early at this point is looking very promising. And the things that we're garnering from that are helping to shape the conversation that we as your band directors are having about how to safely ensure in-person learning when we get to that point. So again, the thing that we want to stress is that if and when we move to that point, your safety is our #1 priority. We are all eager to get back to rehearsal. We're all eager to, we're eager to stand on the podium and to conduct and to move around the room and to experience live music again. But we have to ensure that it's being done safely. So your band directors, that is our driving force right now, and that's what we're working very hard on. Again, and just one final thing, just to really, we want to be as clear as this as we can. Regardless, if you choose the virtual academy or Plan C with remote learning, you will be able to participate in band. We are willing to do whatever we need to do to help provide you with these opportunities. Your music education is really vital to us. It is what we are working for. So if we can make it happen, we're willing to do that for you guys, and that's what we're striving toward. We're nearing the end of our presentation. I just wanted to open up to my colleagues if anyone else has any closing remarks or anything else they feel like they just want to leave everybody with.
I know something we talked about the other day, Josh, about if a student has an issue after class, they can easily see us in the hallway and we can answer their question and it moves on. Something that we're going to try to do this year is we're going to kind of like, well, we have a tech ticket where you send in a ticket and the tech department can help you with your problems on your computer. We're going to have some sort of to assist with that buddy system, a music help ticket, for a lack of better terms right now, where they can fill out a Google form and they label their band. So if it's an AL Standback student, I will get the email plus a flute player. If it's a flute player, Miss Murphy will also get that email. That way, I can fill the question and answer, and Miss Murphy can as well, coming from a flute player. That way, we're tackling any questions that may happen in real time. So we're not going through a bunch of emails or trying to wait for a child to ask us for a specific question, because some people are a little afraid to ask questions. But in this scenario, we need as many questions and answers going in and out. So that's one thing that we are going to work on for the fall as well.
And can I say something real quick, Mr. Savanovic? One of the things that we want, again, to reemphasize this year is, for those of you who don't know what the master classes are, which Mr. Capps stated pretty clearly, but for example, I'm going to be working with flutists in all 3 middle schools and both high schools. So that even though we're not sitting in a classroom and you're not playing with your full band right now, we're going to provide some really neat experiences for you to be able to actually think of it as almost as Ms. Braxton has said before, a sabbatical year, where we're kind of taking a turn and seeing things from a different point of view. And that's what we're working on with all of our activities. So we just want you to keep your faith up and keep your love of music up, because hopefully by the time next school year comes around, we'll all be in full time. But until that time comes, we have a lot of great ideas. In addition, we need you to advocate for your classmates and for you to encourage your classmates to stick with it and hang in there, or if they've already chosen not to be in it because they were nervous about what we were not going to be able to do, and encourage them and get them back in, because you're the reason why we are here doing this, and we want to see as many of you as possible.
I have a couple of questions that have popped up, and I'm hoping that you can address them. Mr. Savanovic, would you state that study again, what universities that was being done through, or states?
Yes, it's being sort of the helm of it is the College Band Directors National Association, and the 2 universities, and correct me if I'm wrong, team, it's the University of Colorado Boulder and the University of Maryland are the 2 primary universities. Now, this is being done in conjunction with the National Federation of High Schools, I believe is the name of the organization, as well as a number of other organizations around the country. NCBA is one of the groups. Our Music Educators Association here in North Carolina is one of the groups that is helping to fund this study. I'm on the NCMEA executive board, and I have been able to be privy to some of those conversations. And the NCMEA board and our members have been working over the summer to get as much information out as we can, so that we are as well informed as we possibly can be. And I have to stress, and they say this in the data, if anybody's interested in looking at the study, feel free to email me and I'll be happy to share it with you. It's available. But they stress in there that this is it's not been peer reviewed yet, and it has not had extensive testing. This is just the very first preliminary data, but because of how much things are changing, they wanted to go ahead and share this data as it's coming out. So as they continue to do more research, and as the data becomes continually available, they're going to keep sharing that information with the rest of us.
And definitely check out that study, because it wasn't just band directors performing these studies. They actually included the science departments with these universities. So they actually brought in the biologists and the specialists in those other areas to help out and give the scientific data that they need to evaluate that. It's not just musicians creating a study. Obviously, we're all curious as to what the effects of this are, and they've brought in their science team. So it's actually collaboration between the music department and the science departments that they're trying to figure out what is going on. But definitely the results that have come out so far are showing a lot of positive results.
So I want to just state that there will be synchronous learning in band and asynchronous learning in band. Synchronous meaning being teacher led at the same time, and asynchronous learning, which will be done at the student's own pace. The schedule for that will be sent out by your school. The schedule for those synchronous lessons will be sent out by the school to each of the students and their families. And you mentioned master classes for instruments. Will there be master classes for every instrument?
That is our goal. Josh, did I jump over you? Yeah, that is our goal. So there are 5 of us here. We all are, you would say, master musicians on all the instruments. However, some of the, we have spent more hours on our primary instrument. With that, we would be we have already actually reached out to other band directors who may be able to help with that. Mr. Capps, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I've already reached out to a couple of band directors in other counties and even other states, as far as we're all kind of in the same boat, and knowing that this band director is a horn player and a clarinet player, some buddies of mine in Virginia, where I was just kind of like, okay, I will offer a trumpet master class if you give us a middle school and a high school clarinet master class. And he was completely game, knowing that I would also help him with his jazz stuff as well. And kind of all of us working together, because we're all in the same boat. And, we could easily say our boosters were going to fund all this stuff, but that's a lot of money. But if all the band directors are helping out and doing a master class here, it's not costing anybody a dime. And then we're helping other programs, and those programs are helping us. So we are looking at it for all the instruments. We've already got a list going of what each thing is going to be on. Even some clinics on anxiety, for whether it be testing or playing or sports. I've got a buddy that does that. And so we're already working on all of those things as well. That way we can bring that to the table.
If I may, one thing, I saw a question that made me think of this. To further explain the chamber music and the flex band pieces. So some people may not know what that is. So when we talk traditionally in our ensembles, right, we have large ensemble rehearsals. So we've got anywhere from 20 to 55 kids in a class playing music together. That's typically what you think of when you go into a band classroom or to one of our concerts. When we talk about chamber winds, that is a smaller collection of students, anywhere from like a duet, sometimes up to an octet. So like 2 to 8 students. And there's a large variety of wind band literature at a variety of levels that's already out there that we've been looking for and researching and trying to make available. And then also there is a consortium in North Carolina that is getting new pieces of music written specifically for a variety of grade levels and a variety of instrumentation to help us deal with this sort of new normal. 4 composers. One of them is Mike Orr, who actually teaches out over at the coast. For those of you who maybe have been in our programs for a while, he was one of our MPA judges. Mr. Capps 3-4 years ago was Mr. Orr here. Yeah, so that's when we talk about chamber ensembles. It's the type of thing we're talking about. It might be 3 flute players, or it might be 2 trumpet players and a trombone player. It really sort of depends on the piece of music and what we need for that. When we talk about flex band arrangements, what those are is, rather than us picking up a piece of music and it has a flute part, a clarinet part, a saxophone part, a trumpet part, instead it will have line 1 part, and then have line 1 in B flat, line 1 in C, line 1 in bass clef, and then a line 2 part. So that way, regardless of what your instrumentation is, you can have all the parts covered and it will sound like a cohesive piece of music still. There are a number of contemporary composers that have spent the summer writing flex band pieces specifically for middle school and high school bands to deal with all of this. Some of you may have performed this music. Frank DeKelly, Stephen Bryant, John Mackey, Brian Balmages, Tyler Grant. A number of these composers are writing music specifically to meet the needs of the situation that we are in today. And that's going to allow us more, pardon the pun, flexibility when providing you with, with providing you different musical opportunities that we can still work on something and feel really positive about the end result. Because it's not going to sound like, oh, we're missing 2/3 of the band. It can still sound like a final product. So that's one of the things we're excited about. Shannon, if we're looking at questions, I see one thing, how will students practice together in chamber ensembles? That's something that we can work on individually, that synchronous learning. If we're doing just a duet or a trio, we can practice those individually just via Zoom with getting direct feedback. I was doing some of that earlier this summer. When Cedar Ridge did our graduation, we had a trumpet trio perform the Star Spangled Banner, and that's how we worked on that. Is I worked with the students individually, and then when it came to graduation, we were socially distanced, and that's when we put it together for the performance. And that's sort of how the approach that we're taking right now is we would work with individual students on that part, and then when we can get together safely, they'll be putting it together. Another option that we've talked about is having more than one group of students work on the same piece, so that the students can give peer review. I'm working on part 1 for this, and so are you. I'm going to play for you, and you can give me feedback, because that's one of the things that we talk about when we talk about musical literacy and ensemble awareness with our students, is being able to listen and hear what is happening around them and adapt, and then be able to give feedback. So that's one of the ways we could approach it. For the group, one of the questions is, how much time should a student realistically plan to practice their instrument per week? And is it reasonable to maybe take on a new instrument or begin taking piano lessons? Would somebody like to speak to that?
I think the time period, the time on how much you practice an instrument varies on your age level. For a beginner, I would say somewhere between 20 and 25 minutes per night. With normally, I would say no more than one night off per week. And as you get older, the time expands, but you never want to sit down for an hour and practice an instrument. So if you did it in small segments, that way you're always practicing fresh. Taking on a second instrument, I would it all depends on, are they a 6th grader right now? So they're learning, say, clarinet, and they're going to learn the piano. I would say do one and then give it 6 months and start the second one, instead of trying to do 2 at one time. I know my daughter, whenever we started kindergarten and piano the same week, and that was perfect for her. She didn't know any different. But when it came time for middle school, piano was kind of already going, so trombone just kind of picked itself up. So if you're picking up a second instrument and you've already been playing the first instrument for a while, I think you're going to be fine as long as you put time on both instruments. I did see another question there about the middle school band camp. Because we can't be at the school, obviously, for us, that particular camp is not going to be able to happen. I think if we were not trying to do this and do all this, we probably could have come up with a virtual way of doing it. But trying to figure out one thing right now was rather difficult. So if we're still in the same boat for next year, I'm sure we'll have a virtual option. But right now, we're going to have to kind of miss this year, sadly.
If I could just piggyback on what Mr. Capps just said about camp, while the middle school is not able to do their traditional camp, I know a number of our students attend the summer music camp at UNCG, and this is not a plug for UNCG, but go Spartans. Their camp director put together master classes from a number of their UNCG faculty that are pre-recorded lessons. So, even though your student might not be able to get that one-on-one instruction, if they're eager to play again and they're eager to get some instrument-specific advice, that's a really, really good resource that they can find on UNCG's website. And I think maybe even on their UNCG College of Visual Performing Arts Twitter page. And then about the practicing, one thing I would caution, especially to the older students, it's not about how much you practice, but how effective and efficient you are. As students get older, they should be less concerned with, all right, I have to practice for 30 minutes, and rather, this is what I need to be working on today. And I'm gonna, maybe the thing you're working on is just getting articulation in this one excerpt down that you're working on, and maybe that's your practice goal for that night. And maybe it only takes you 15 minutes that night. But maybe the next thing you're working on is, you're working on a new lip slur exercise, and maybe that takes you 45 minutes. It's not so simple as logging time, but just really monitoring what you're doing and using your time wisely. And any of us would be willing. Practicing is something that you have to learn. It's not something that comes easy. To do it in such a way that you're being mature about it, it took all of us time. I mean, I'm sure all of us went to college as freshmen and we're like, I practiced 2 hours today, but was it really 2 good hours of practicing? So if you have questions about it, or parents, if you have questions about it, feel free to reach out to any of us. We'd be glad to give your students some more practice advice, and to just talk with them about, if they feel like they need a guide or help setting up a weekly practice agenda, we're willing to help with that.
I did see a question on there about from the boosters, asking how the boosters could help the band programs. And my advice is just to reach out to your band director. This is it's a different time for all of us. Each program has a lot of needs, and I know that fundraising efforts, what is that going to look like in a virtual setting? And we need lots of parents to be involved with coming up with creative ideas and stuff like that. There's other ways that you can help out. There could be things that need to be put together, or things that need to be created, or something like that. And throughout this whole process, we're going to come across new needs as we go. So, definitely reach out to each one of us. And, if you got ideas and stuff like that, we're all in this together and trying to figure this out as we go along. And, we could definitely use the help and support.
Parents, students, community members of Orange County Schools, do you see what a pleasure it is to work with these 5 band directors? The excitement is contagious. I've had a smile on my face the whole time because these 5 band directors are working hard to make it work for our students of Orange County Schools, and to make sure that music education, band education is going to happen for our students, and they're working on those details. And they're thinking about safety, and they're going to make it work. And I love, Mr. Capps, I want to go back to you that, we're all in this together, and we got to work together. We got to pull on our resources across the state of North Carolina. He mentioned talking about with band directors in Virginia. When we all work together and make students the focus, that's what this is all about. I appreciate all your questions. If you have additional questions, don't hesitate to reach out to your band director. And then they are collectively working together to answer those questions to make sure that we are being consistent across Orange County Schools. We thank you so much for joining us tonight. I think the highest we got up to was 124 participants. It's just really exciting. And then the fact that this is recorded and will be available for others to watch. Band directors, before we close, is there any closing remarks from you guys before we say goodnight?
I saw one more question about the how is a 6th grader going to have success through synchronous learning and hearing what they are. We are planning to do videos per instrument. So me as the trumpet player, I'm going to do a video of this is how you open the case. This is how you pull out the parts without breaking anything. This is how you put it together. So there's going to be a series of 8 or 10 videos. And then after that, my plan is to have a line so that child can play along with me on number 1. So they can play number 1 until they feel happy with number 1. And then they move to number 2. So they're not only hearing their own sound, but they get a chance to play along with they're a flute player playing with a flute player. Even if that happens to be me playing the flute, I'm good through the 6th grade band book anyway, and I can play through those types of things, and then that way they're still getting a way to hear what they sound like until we all meet together.
Shannon, one question I saw that popped up was asking about percussionists. And yes, Mr. West and I can speak to this as percussionists ourselves. You know, sometimes we get forgotten about it in the back of the room, it feels like. And I promise you, this is a conversation that we've been having already. We've been reaching out and talking with Music and Arts about options for rentals. We've been talking, Mr. Capps found recently a company that does keyboard instrument practice pads. While it may not be practical to get, let's say, you know, every student gets a keyboard percussion instrument or every student gets a tambourine, while that might not be something that's practical, we are thinking about you percussionists. We're musicians too. So I promise you that is something that we're working through, and we'll have something in place so that you guys can be participating as well. Percussion ensemble is a type of chamber ensemble. So there are a lot of options out there that can help you guys participate and still advance your technical skills. A question that I see, will the videos be available in one location? That's why we're creating this Google Classroom, this Orange County School Band Google Classroom, that we will have it on there, as well as, you know, a number of our programs have band websites. A number of us either have Canvas platforms or Google Classrooms as well. We'll be certain that this information is available on a number of platforms, a number of locations, so it is easy to find for the students and for the parents. I have 2 little ones at home right now, and you know, trying to figure out where all their stuff was in the spring for distance learning. I remember it's a challenge. And so trying to make this as clear cut and as accessible for all of our students and all of our parents is something that's primary in our mind. And I just, again, thank you guys for being here. We've been talking a lot. I've been talking a lot to my students about how we're going to make this freshman, how we're going to let you feel like you're a part of our band communities at the high schools. That is something that is really important. That's why we're working on this band buddy system. And then seniors, we want to give you a meaningful experience as you finish out your high school career. And you've given, some of you have given the last 7 years of your life to the band programs of Orange County Schools. And so we're working to find ways to make it meaningful for you as we continue on. So just, guys, stick with it. We are going to get through this together, and we're going to make it work. So that's it for me.
I just wanted to just kind of highlight what Mr. Capps was saying about the opportunities for beginners and for all of us, really. I know this is not an ideal situation for ensembles to perform, but I'm thinking back to when I started as a 7th grader. We started in 7th grade when I was many, many moons ago. But, you know, there was only one educator in that classroom teaching all of us. And this year, our beginners are going to have an experience that no other beginner throughout in any previous generation is going to have. Not only are they going to have the expert from their schools working with them regularly, we're bringing in experts from all over the area, from all over the state, from out of the state. So it's really a unique opportunity for a student to get into a band program and to be starting like this. And I know that as hard and as difficult as this experience is for us as educators and trying to develop some stuff, I know that I've already learned techniques that are going to carry over into the quote unquote traditional classroom. And, you know, these technologies that we're experimenting with now, we're going to see those become very influential in the future with bringing in experts into our classroom to engage our students and to do that. So as difficult as this is right now, I know that it's going to develop some really strong positive growth. And me personally, I know it's not an ideal situation, but I'm excited for those beginners to have this opportunity.
Well said. Absolutely well said. I think about that expertise that they're going to get, um, and not just that one teacher. Just in our district, having all 5 of you working together is a real blessing, and it's an opportunity for our students. And I'm very grateful for each one of you. I thank you so much for your time tonight. Again, parents and community and students, if you have any other questions, just keep those coming, and we'll work to get those answered. And I hope that you heard and saw tonight that our band directors are working together for a plan to make this a successful 2020-2021 school year. We hope you all have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your summer. School will be starting soon. Good night. Guys, y'all did great. This was awesome. Thank you so much. Joseph, if you could stop the recording now. And Joseph, can we keep the questions? Are they saved?